Supervisor in alphabetical order are Nancy Dwyer on the Democratic and Public Servants line, and Art Johnson on the Republican, Conservative, and Independence Party line. Now it is time to hear their opening statements of no more than 2 minutes. They have drawn lots to determine the order, and first we will hear from Art Johnson.
Good evening, everyone, and it's great to see such a large turnout tonight and your interest in local government. I do want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting tonight's forum, and to all of you for taking the time to listen to the candidates. It has been an honor and a privilege for me to serve as Wilton Supervisor for the past 15 years. Some of you may think that, well, that's a long time for one person to serve as supervisor, but I can tell you that I still have the same passion, desire, dedication, and motivation that I had 15 years ago. I'm proud of my leadership, and I'm proud of my accomplishments. I have always focused and will continue to focus on providing a quality of life that Wilton residents deserve and enjoy. Wilton is a very successful community, and I believe that I have made a difference and have contributed to that success. We have no town property taxes, no highway taxes, balanced budgets, a healthy fund balance, great parks and recreation opportunities and programs, safe roads, safe neighborhoods, senior programs, job creation, and quality controlled growth, balanced with thousands of acres of open space preservation. If I am fortunate enough to be reelected, my plan is to follow the same path and build on our successes. As a town, we know where we were, and we know where we are. It is now time to plan our future. To that end, last year the town adopted an updated comprehensive plan that was drafted by a diversified committee that I appointed and guided by a professional planner. The process was open, transparent, and included public input. At the same time, the town's open space, recreation, and path-based plan is being updated to ensure that and keep the balance of development with open space preservation. The last piece was to update our traffic study to identify future infrastructure needs, such as improvements to intersections and bridges.
Excuse me, your time is up, I'm sorry.
I timed this for 2 minutes. I spoke slowly. My ultimate goal is to make a great town even greater, and I'll end with that.
Thank you. Sorry. Nancy Dwyer.
Hi, I'm Nancy Dwyer, and I'm running to be our next Wilton Supervisor. My family moved here in 1973. I was a 4th grader in Dorothy Nolan. I moved back 20 years ago to raise my children here. They are now independent. Our parents are Wilton residents, retired, independent, and healthy. This gives me the opportunity now to fulfill what I see as my civic duty to step up and be a part of the change I wish to see. I'm not talking about changing Wilton. The change I refer to is my vision of leadership. Leadership that works for and with the people. Of not only this town, but the county, the state, the nation, the world. I'm registered NOP, no official party, and I purposefully stay that way, particularly as I run, because I believe elected officials should work for you, regardless of your party affiliation or your beliefs. This is your town, and everyone should be welcome at the table. I created the Independent Public Servants line on our Wilton ballot because leadership is about people, not party. We, with all of our differences, are the fabric of our communities. No matter the issues that come before this town and community, you deserve to know what they are from day one. You deserve the opportunity to learn the facts, and you deserve to be part of the conversation, if you so choose, from start to finish. My skills acquired as a teacher, a board member, a business owner, a trainer, a treasurer, are experiences that prepare me to not only head our town board, but to run town hall, prepare balanced budgets, and represent Wilton at the county level. I'm ready, willing, and able to take the proverbial baton and lead us forward. New leadership is not a threat to Wilton's way of life. It is an overdue infusion. I know what makes Wilton attractive. This is my home, too. My husband was born and raised here. I have a strong respect for the history of Wilton and the families who built this community, whose names adorn our streets, our rec center, our town buildings. As your supervisor, it is my responsibility and commitment to keep you informed, to offer you opportunities to participate, and to ensure we stay fiscally strong.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. It's time for questions from the audience. And the first question is going to go to Art Johnson. Town supervisor is an important and demanding job. What elective or public service experience did you have before deciding to run for supervisor?
Well, actually, my experience in
Oh,
the town...
can you use your microphone?
Oh, I'm
It's hard
sorry,
for
yeah.
people.
I hate my age, but I started back in the town of Wilton back in 1980. I served as town assessor for 14 years. I was on the town board and deputy supervisor from 1994 to 2002, and that's when I became elected supervisor. During that time as supervisor, I served 15 years. I served on the county government for 15 years as well. So I certainly have the experience and the knowledge to lead Wilton for the next 2 years.
Thank you. Nancy Dwyer?
Can you say that question?
Yes, I can. Town supervisor is an important and demanding job. What elective or public service experience did you have before deciding to run for supervisor?
I was a teacher for 10 years. I worked very hard to advocate for my students. I led classrooms. It takes an immense amount of organization to be a teacher. A lot of prep work, a lot of things you have to keep track of with state requirements. I sit as the vice president of the Friends of Murrow Lake State Park. I've been asked to chair committees and facilitate committees. All of those things require leadership skills to make sure that it's not just my voice, but that everyone at the table gets a fair shake of their point of view, that everyone listens with respect, and that we work together to come to the most optimum solutions. And I was a treasurer for a union of over 300 people. I secured insurance policies for that. I created budgets. I did profit and loss statements. I worked in heavy highway construction. I can manage what's going on with our town highway superintendent's job and understand the language that they're talking when we present a budget to us as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Keep the microphone because it's your turn next. Explain how your position on the County Board of Supervisors will benefit the residents of Wilton.
So towns in our area, the supervisors are, part of their duty is to the County Board of Supervisors. It's a form of government. Not all counties are governed that way. Our county is. Our County Board of Supervisors has a very large budget. They are in charge of a lot of the services that our county receives. I went to a county supervisors meeting last week, and they had a lot of subcommittees. So your responsibilities as a town supervisor are also to the county. You're a liaison. You go there to advocate for your town. You go there to advocate for your county. I've been a realtor for the last 11 years. I've sold real estate from south of Albany up into the Adirondacks, from Fulton County over to the Vermont border. I know many of the counties around us. I'm very familiar with Saratoga County. I know how Wilton fits in to that fabric, and the county needs to be mindful of all of its townships within it. So I look forward to serving on the County Board of Supervisors.
Thank you, Nancy Dwyer. Art Johnson?
Yes, as you know, as the town supervisor also wears a second hat, that being on the County Board of Supervisors, which I've been on there for 15 years. I served in pretty much all leadership roles in the county, and I was the chairman of the board in 2009. But being at the County Board of Supervisors, there's various things you can bring back to the town to help the town, as the question said. It can help towards the sales tax formula that is very important to us. That's how we fund our budget. More recently, there's certain things that came up with weapons use on county forest lands that was annoying to residents and a safety issue to residents, I was able to get a local law on the books to alleviate that situation. So those are the types of things that if you're on the county board of supervisors, you can bring back to your residents and help your issues at the town level.
Okay, thank you. Keep the mic.
Yep.
Can everybody hear him when he speaks? Yeah, okay. Okay, this question's from Sharon. She's a resident of Wilton. Wilton is an open meeting and representatives are accessible. What other means would you advocate to have town governance more transparent?
Yeah, as a town, I think we are as transparent as we can be. All our meetings are open. All our documents are open and available to the public. Our website, and every information, any information you want to garner is available on our website. We have one of the best websites around. Social media is another way to get the word out there on things. We have a very transparent process when it comes to planning and zoning. Any project that comes into town, the agenda's on the website. Any property owners affected are notified. Adjacent property owners are notified of a project so that they can voice their opinion on it. So I think we're open. All our books and records are open to anybody, and we have nothing to hide. We're accountable to the state agencies, the controller's office, attorney general's office, anybody. So I mean, we're about as transparent and as accountable as you can get.
Thank you, Art. Nancy?
In regard to our website, I know a couple of years ago that was revamped, but I noticed the other day that the sign up to be kept informed via email was not an active page. So, as Paula mentioned earlier, we have a very passive way of being open, and I propose to be a lot more progressive with that. We shouldn't wait for you to come find things. There are people, I've been knocking doors since June 4th. There are people who don't know that the Cumberland Farms is being built on the corner of Daniels Road and Route 9. They have no idea. That's atrocious to me. And those that do know that, they don't know that our town is proposing to spend $6 to $8 million on a new town court, a new senior center, and in addition to our town hall. That should not be a case here. We've spent over $20,000 on professional consultation. I found out, because I attend most of our board meetings, our town board meetings, I found out when that consultant did a presentation to our town board. And I attend planning board meetings, I attend zoning board meetings, I attend most of our town board meetings. I was appalled to find that out sitting in a town board meeting.
Okay, thank you. There's a red card, so Mr. Art Johnson?
I'd just like to respond to that. First of all, Cumberland Farms or any project, they're certainly out there. We can't send an invitation to everyone that there's a project going on. You have to know what's going on. It's available on the website, agenda's on the website. So it's up to people to know that if it was an adjacent property owner, they would know about it. But as far as that $6-8 million project, it's a project that involves a court building and a potential relocation of the senior center. We're exploring that. We had engineers come back with proposed costs. Because of the cost, we took a step back and we're looking to other options to reduce the cost if we're going to go forward with that project. But I can tell you, if we go forward with that project, debt service will be within operating budget and will not involve imposing any taxes.
Okay, thank you. Art. And Nancy is going to be the first one to respond to this question, and it's from Nick. How do you propose to balance business development while maintaining green space without requiring homeowners to bear the brunt of the financial burden? Want me to ask that again?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. How do you propose to balance business development while maintaining green space without requiring homeowners to bear the brunt of the financial burden?
I'm really sure that homeowners have to bear the burden of business development. Wilton is interesting. The Northway comes right through our town, which is a big reason because the commuting is so easy, it makes it very attractive for people who have to commute. We have our exit 15 and Route 50 corridor, that's commercial. We have our industrial zone that comes across Ballard. And then we have another commercial zone that runs down Route 9. Some of it is PUDs, some of it is hamlets, some of it is commercial, it's mixed commercial. Those are hot spots for us. Those really need to be paid attention to and planned appropriately. I think Paula referred to it earlier, and we talk about it all the time as we strategize and move forward. Wilton's a growing town. It has been one of the fastest growing towns for years. We are pushing, I believe, almost 18,000 people. At some point, a planner is going to be critical for us and to help us look out, to balance, to look to the future, to balance those needs for our business growth, our residential growth, and protecting our green space.
Thank you, Nancy. Art Johnson?
Yes, I don't see where the residential property owners ever bear any costs involving a commercial or business development. The business development is required under our zoning codes to provide 35% green space. I don't see how any of that would fall back onto the residential financial burden back to the residents. But as far as growth goes, we did see substantial growth from 2000 to 2010, but since 2010 to 2016, it's been very modest, 0.6% growth, one of the lowest in the county, well behind Half Moon, Malta, and Ballston Spa. And our population is under 17,000, 16,800. It's going to take a long time at the current growth rate, which Capital District Regional Planning Commission projects to ever reach 18,000.
Okay, thank you. Hold on to the mic. Art Johnson, this is for you first. Do you believe in term limits? If so, after how many terms? And if not, why not?
Term limits, I think, should either be self-imposed or up to people like you folks out in the audience that say, you've been around long enough and vote him out of office. As long as the person is doing a job and willing to do it and still has the desire to do it, I don't believe in term limits. I think those should be self-imposed or upon the electorate.
Okay, thank you, Art Johnson. Nancy Dwyer?
I do believe in term limits. Our presidency has a 2-term limit, and as much as we might like somebody, repeated years at something, even a marriage, becomes complacent. And that's nothing against my husband. But you know what? It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work to not become complacent. There are a lot, I've knocked on hundreds and hundreds of doors here. There are some amazing people in this town. Because of our party system the way it is right now, there are people who will not step up to run because they feel not in their best interest to do so. I do believe in term limits. I'm not sure how long for a supervisor's position. I don't even know that 2 years is enough for a new person to get this under their belt. There's a lot to learn, there's a lot to do, there's a lot of people to meet. Maybe for this one, 3 terms, 4 terms, I think ought to be good.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. Hold on to the mic, it's your turn. This is from Chris Ramsdell. The rise of online retail threatens the health of our mall retailers and tax revenue to the town. Do we need to enact a new town tax, or do you see other ways to replace lost revenue?
It's interesting. The sales tax that's collected is collected by the county. It's not collected by the town. It's collected as an aggregate, and there are formulas. And I'll keep it simple. There's really two ways that a town receives that sales tax. One of them is per capita, or per head. The other one is based on your assessed values. Our sales tax has been jumping up and down. We were down 2% at the beginning of the year. Then we were up double digits. Now we're down double digits. It is up, it is down. One of the first things I propose to do when I am the supervisor is to reach out to our mall and our businesses, our big anchor businesses, Ace, Target, Walmart, to the distribution centers, to reach out to them, the owners of the mall. They better be darn serious and nervous if there's an issue. To reach out to them to say, what can we do as a town to help you stay successful? And what are you doing as the businesses in our town to make sure that you stay viable?
Okay, thank you, Nancy. Art Johnson?
As we know, sales tax is the key to our budget. It has been fluctuating this year, but I'm confident by the end of the year we will reach our, or exceed our projections. And internet sales tax, or internet sales is becoming an issue. And there is a proposal before the state legislature this year within the governor's budget, and passed by one house of the state legislature to tax internet sales. NISAC, which is the New York State Association of Counties, which I chair the Tax and Finance Committee, have been lobbying desperately to get that proposed. That would solve a lot of our problems. But I think the county is still strong. Saratoga County is a great county. I think county-wide our sales tax is up. I think the fluctuation is actually due to the state, where they may tend to use our funds, so to speak, until they make an adjustment later on in the year. That's why it fluctuated. We were down, we had a double-digit increase, and I expect to see the double-digit increase before the end of the year, and we will be just fine with our sales tax.
Okay, Art, hang on to the mic. Do you support the use of eminent domain in order to build multi-use paths in Wilton? And when will we begin implementing these paths?
First, from experience, I do not believe in taking anybody's property by eminent domain. We tried to do a multi-use path a few years ago along Carr Road, Jones Road corridor. But in the front, we had it designed, and we hit a roadblock when people would not, the path would not fit in the town's right of way. We needed to take people's property and put a 6 or 8 foot path along those roadways. And the purpose was to loop all those residential areas and be able to get people to Devon Park and to Dorothy Middle School in a safe manner. But it would require easements, and I would not propose using eminent domain to take anyone's property. As far as when are we implementing pathways, we have been implementing pathways as part of our open space pathways plan. We actually have 19 miles of trails in the town. Most of them, granted, are off-road, but they start from Camp Saratoga, Wildlife Preserve and Park, and will connect all the way down eventually to Jones Road. So implementing paths is not something new. We've been doing it for a long time. Widening the shoulders is also been part of our pathways plan for bicyclists and pedestrian safety. So it's, implementing paths it's been implemented. It's just a matter of when, or how we proceed, identifying locations.
Sorry. Nancy Barr? Yes, I can. Do you support the use of eminent domain in order to build multi-use paths in Wilton? And when will we begin building these paths?
I do not support eminent domain for multi-use paths. Eminent domain was created for situations more important than that. And I'm not saying that multi-use paths are not important. We are in the pathway of the Empire Plan, which is the governor's plan to run paths from Buffalo to New York City and up through Albany, up to the Canadian border. There are a lot of those paths already in place, and they will be connected. Larry Gordon, in the back here, is a phenomenal asset to this town in his creation of paths and connecting paths, and a huge resource. There are also the Palmertown Range Paths plan that connects basically Saratoga up to Glens Falls. I don't believe that our widening of our roads is enough, but to my whole platform, if people are interested in multi-use paths, we need to pull them together. We need to give them the opportunity to learn from people who are professionals. We need to have the dialogue and create the space for that to move forward. As to how it's going to happen. But no, I don't believe we should be taking people's property by eminent domain to create those.
Okay, excellent. You know, you can always use your red cards if you want to continue talking about an issue. This goes to you, Nancy Barr, first. If you accept campaign donations from special interests, how would that influence your decision-making process?
I don't accept donations from special interests. I am almost 100% self-funded at this point in time. I will never take donations from any entity that could even give the perception that I have a conflict of interest. I will always self-fund and/or from individuals. People that know me know, if you're going to support me, it better not be because you want something in return. I will always do what I think is right, regardless of what threat might come to me, my family, or anyone else. There's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things a lot of times. And I'm not going to do something because somebody gave money or somebody wants something else, or I might want something from them. Another thing, I believe that our political process not only needs to change in nonpartisan, forget the bipartisan, it should be nonpartisan. People running for position should run for the betterment of all, not for their party. I'm going to take my red card on this, one of them. I also believe that campaign finance is long overdue. There are other ways to do this other than special interests buying candidates. Money should be put into a big pool and evenly distributed to everyone running. And those of us that can utilize it to the best, there's a statement right there as to how well we're going to handle our financials that we're obligated to do in our positions. So no, I am not for sale.
Okay, thank you, Nancy Barr. Art Johnson?
Unfortunately, campaign contributions are a necessary evil in campaigns. Back in, I think it's been 12 years ago, is the last time I ever had a fundraising effort when I thought I had an opponent back then. Since then, I had no opponent, so I never ever sought campaign funds because I didn't need them. So I would never solicit funds because I didn't need them. This year with a campaign, I did what most other candidates do. I did solicit for contributions and receive contributions, and I'm not. And it's a case of people contributing to a candidate because it happens. They like what they see. They like the government that person is involved with. And they do it for a reason other than they're not buying somebody, and it's not special interest. I would never sell myself as well. but I was open to accepting campaign funds in order to run a viable campaign.
Okay, thank you. This is going to be our last question before we go to our closing statements. Art Johnson, you're going to get to answer it first. What would you do to control congestion on Route 9 and Route 50, especially during peak commute time?
Let's go to Route 9 first. I tried, the congestion happens during school morning hours, down by the middle school. Not only myself, but the school district has tried to get a traffic signal there for just a very limited time. You wouldn't want it there all the time because you have a signal up the road not too far away. So that was my first attempt to try, at least during those high peak hours, to control Route 9. As far as Route 50, Route 50 has been, that intersection of Jones, Loudon, Ingersoll has been an issue, particularly the left turn from Jones onto Route 50. So we have traffic studies done just recently with suggestions on how to improve that. It doesn't, however, does involve DOT, but I'm looking for the future and be able to at some time improve that intersection, and of course it takes a lot of funding, so I was out there seeking funding from New York State and the federal government to at some time correct that intersection to alleviate the traffic flow and congestion at Route 50.
Okay, thank you. Nancy Dwyer.
As I said before, I attend a lot of our planning, zoning, and town board meetings, and I remember back when Kate Maynard was our town planner, somebody was very upset, and I know it's a very dangerous curve right in front of McGregor Country Club and Carr Road, and I remember Kate speaking to that. As a planner, that's a part of her professional experience, and she had a very quick and to the point answer for the people that were concerned. There are issues that we who are not trained in that can't even fathom. And every time traffic comes up, and I know in front of the school, I try to get on Edie Road these days. Forget it. They're car after, I don't even know where they're going. Every meeting I've been at where traffic on those two roads particularly comes up, it's always stated they're state road, they're not under our purvey. They're not under our highway superintendent. They're not something that our town board controls. And it is difficult because accidents have to happen. I almost think people have to die before the state takes us seriously about those issues. So it is frustrating. And I've watched our town be frustrated with that for quite some time now. And it's a problem we're having to deal with.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. Art Johnson is going to lead off with his closing statement. Remember that you have 1 minute for your closing statement.
Find it first. There it is.
And they'll kind of, if you watch that.
It's been a long night, so I won't even take 1 full minute. Wilton voters will have a choice on November 7th. It's a choice they haven't had in some years. When you go to the polls, ask yourself, do I want a supervisor with a proven record of leadership and accomplishments? Do I want a supervisor with many years of government experience? Do I want a supervisor I can trust to do the right things for Wilton? Or do I want a supervisor who will listen and respond to residents' concerns or issues? If you answer yes to these questions, your choice is clear. Vote for Art Johnson on November 7th. Thank you, and thank you to the voters and for all of you attending tonight.
Thank you, Art Johnson. Nancy Dwyer.
We've had leaders that have served for decades unopposed. We've not had choice on our ballot for as long as I can recall. I run to bring fresh perspective and commitment to transparency, to make sure you know what is being proposed for your town, that we create opportunities for you to become informed and part of the conversation from start to finish. I pledge to fiscal responsibility, responsible growth, building community with residents and businesses so that we know who we are, what we want to be, and we protect ourselves against things that we don't want to be. As your supervisor, it is my responsibility and commitment to keep you informed, to offer you opportunities to participate, to ensure we stay fiscally strong, to keep us relevant and vibrant, so that Wilton continues to be a great place to call home. I'm Nancy Dwyer, and I want your vote for Wilton Town Supervisor.
Thank you very much, Nancy Dwyer. Thank you all for demonstrating your civic concern by attending. Don't forget to pick up the League's upcoming events from the literature table and the brochure with the ballot questions. And don't forget to vote on Tuesday, November 7th. Polls will be open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. And please join me in applauding all the candidates.